Well, that's why right now, what videos are doing the best on all social media? Ones that are done with iPhones.
Yeah, straight versus, just walking, talking shot.
Walking, talking versus perfect studios with a perfect camera, with edited this and that, because we miss authenticity with everything.
Yeah.
We log onto people's social media. We see them living their best life, which it's like anything else. That may be 5 minutes of their day that's their best life, but what's their real life like? I like to ask my Uber drivers when I'm driving around, like, tell me some of your craziest stories.
I was going to say,
yeah.
let me tell you about my crypto scheme that's going to take over the world. And now, Escaping the Drift, the show designed to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I'm John Gafford, and I have a knack for getting extraordinary achievers to drop their secrets to help you on a path to greatness. So stop drifting along, escape the drift, and it's time to start right now. Back again for another episode of, like it says in the opening, man, the podcast that gets you from where you are to where you want to be. And today in studio, I got a banger for you. And this is why. Like, we get inundated all the time with people that want to be on the podcast, that are reaching out to us. I want to be on the podcast. I want to be on the podcast. I mean, it's literally like 10 people a day. And don't get me wrong. If you want to be on the podcast and you got a cool story, I want you to come at me. I want you, because that's how we find good guests, which is great. But this is a dude that I actually reached out to him, right? Like, I love when I get the people that it's like I'm curating this just for you, and I'm handpicking these guests just for you because I really believe in what they're doing. So the first thing I'm going to say is, if you haven't watched us on YouTube, you need to go over to YouTube. Please like and subscribe. And here's why, because what we're talking about today is going to be somewhat visual. So yes, it's still going to work on the podcast, but I think really you might want to check this out on YouTube as well. So go over to the two other YouTube channel, Escaping the Drift, over there, and check us out there. But this is going to be awesome. So this dude is an expert at something which I think is very useful, which is he knows how to decode others just by looking at their facial features. Like, he can read everything he needs to know about you by looking at your damn face, which I think is incredible. He is a master at understanding and deciphering body language. He is an expert at active listening. And this is a guy that can teach you how to communicate on levels that you just don't understand. So if you ever feel like you can't get through to people, or more to the point, you're not connecting with people, today, this is your podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. This is Brian Galke.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah.
I'm so excited you're here. As you can probably tell, I'm like going to burst out of my chair.
Oh, this is great.
Because this is great. Because I love that you're here. And first of all, I want to talk about this before we get into that, because you and I have a very great connection, and we live and breathe for something that's the same way.
Yeah.
And that is keeping the dear memory. And it's so cool because I'll let him say what you said.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said, Steve Sims changed my life. And so every chance we get to be on any podcast so we can talk about Steve and keep his legacy alive is something I love, because he absolutely changed my life for me. He gave me my very first ever official speaking gig, where I came on and I was a speaker. Like, Janine Driver gave me my first 15 minutes of fame. And that was, she gave up 15 minutes of her 60-minute talk to let me get on stage. But Steve was the first one to officially bring me on as a speaker for an event. And then he was my coach, who became my mentor, who became my friend.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Steve as well.
Yeah.
Like we just said, I miss him dearly. Yeah. I've got his initials, along with a lot of other good friends of mine that have passed away, hanging around my neck.
Yeah.
And he wrote the foreword to my new book, which I'm so grateful for, that, for Claire and the kids, that he could do that. And, and something's getting published literally tomorrow, that Steve wrote. And so anything I can do to keep his legacy alive, I totally agree. So if you don't know who Steve Sims is, please go look him up, read his book, buy his book, Blue Fishing, buy his other book, Go for Stupid. The guy was one of my favorite people ever to be on this earth. It was a tragedy when he was taken from us. So
absolutely.
It was a tragedy. All right. So let's get to talking about how you got into this, man.
Sure.
So how do you get into reading people's faces?
Fluke circumstances. A friend came in from out of town. She said, let's go to dinner. I show up at the restaurant. She calls to cancel. And I'm like, great, here we go. And she's like, no, you got to come meet this guy. I said, why should I come meet this guy? She goes, he reads faces. And I go, I've never heard of that crap. It can't be real. I'm not coming over there. And she's like, will you please come over? I'm in from out of town. Come on. But I went with a plan. And that was, I was going to prove that this guy was a fraud, because I'd never heard of it. I'm an introvert by nature. So what introverts do, we pick up books to understand people, right? So I've got all kinds of body language books, you name it, statement analysis, networking. I'd never heard of face reading before. And so I get over there and I'm like, I'm going to prove that this guy is going to use, kind of like mentalism things, generic statements that apply to everyone. You've had a hard time in life, or, somebody whose name starts with pick any letter.
I do.
Yeah, exactly.
I do know somebody.
It's crazy.
I do know somebody.
And so I was trying to wait to catch this guy. So I went in, guns blazing. I was going to blow holes in this guy. And when we got there, he just had such a demeaning, like, presence about him. I'm like, or sorry, not demeaning. He just kind of brought you in. I was like, wow, okay. He just seems like a really nice guy, but he ruined my night. So I still don't like him. And so he sat us all down at dinner and he went person by person. And he started decoding their facial features. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait and see if he says, like, if somebody has different eyebrows, is he going to say the same thing or not? Or is he just saying things that people are going to go, yeah, uh-huh. And so I watched him. I was trying to catch the guy, trying to catch him, and I couldn't. And I'm like, dang it. Then he got to me. And when he did to me, I was like, this guy's been digging through my trash. Like, it's kind of
It was
scary.
that spot on.
Yes. And what I learned is it all goes all the way back to the Greeks. Aristotle wrote the first book on it. It's not a science. It's a study called physiognomy. And it's the 43 muscles in the face. The mind creates movement. Movement creates muscle. And so they've been studying over time how those muscles, by expanding or contracting, will alter our facial features. And so it's been studied. It was thrown out by Henry VIII. He said, I don't like the idea that beggars and vagabonds can use this against their fellow man. And he yanked it out. And part of the reason for that is something known as phrenology. So phrenology is bumps on the head determine who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. Well, the bumps on the head, that first off, it's not there, but that's a permanent feature. But we're constantly changing as people. So what happens is you have a thought and you make a face. Well, over time, your face will adjust based on those repetitive movements that you have.
Which is why some people look angry all the time.
Yes. RBF. Yes. It applies to men and women. But it's funny, like I show in my presentations or with customers and clients, me as at 18, I used to have straight eyebrows, and now you can see I have angled eyebrows. Well, I didn't go have those done. I started having different thoughts and when learning things. And so your face changes along with it. So our faces are constantly changing from the minute we're born till the minute we pass. And that's why when we go to like an open casket funeral, we don't recognize the person in the box because all the muscle tension is gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're just like complete.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start getting into it. So if I'm listening to this, I want to, teach me something. So let's start at the top and work. Is this how it works? You start at the top and work your way down?
I absolutely
Is that what we do?
Yeah.
Right,
so
let's start at the top.
Like if we're doing training, if I'm going in with customers or coaching people, then I start with eyebrows because eyebrows lead to eye contact, and it's a lost art this day and age. Mm-hmm. But even with just this much real estate, you can learn so much about people. So eyebrow height tells you how long somebody needs to make a decision. So if people who have higher eyebrows, it's because they're going like this a lot and thinking, then eventually their eyebrow height will change. And so when people do that a lot, you can look at people and go, okay, this person needs a little more time before they pull the trigger. Has nothing to do with intelligence.
Are we talking about millimeters? Or are we talking about, what's like?
It can literally just anything that's more than a finger's width above your eye is considered a high eyebrow. Anything below that's considered low. Okay. So when you look at someone, like you have low eyebrows.
Okay, yes. I have low eyebrows.
And so if you meet people and they have high eyebrows, and I know, okay, let's say I have 30 minutes with you, then we're probably gonna be talking for 25 to 30 minutes. Completely fine. If somebody like you who has low eyebrows, the longer I talk, the more I lose you. Because you want to get straight to the point, right? You want to get there fast. So when you look at someone, you can look at their eyebrow height and go, okay, do they make decisions fast or slow? And that is a very simple thing. So probably the most interesting industry that we teach this to is door-to-door sales. So those people have 7 seconds before somebody slams the door shut, pulls a gun, or calls the cops.
Yeah.
And when somebody answers the door, they answer
maybe all
like
three.
This. Yeah, exactly. And when they answer, they stick their head out. If that, they don't open the full door. So body language is important. I think I can recommend numerous books. I put any book that's ever helped me, I put on my website because it should be able to help everybody else. But body language can't help you if you can't see it. And so that's what I really loved about this skill is you have this much real estate. If you're on a Zoom call, you go look up somebody on LinkedIn ahead of time, or even if you just meet someone, just this real estate alone can teach you so much about them.
Well, you can't really go on LinkedIn because I'm in the real estate business. Right. And if you've ever seen a headshot of a realtor, it's either from 1987 or it's been so heavily AI filtered, you can't even see what's going on.
Well, you're right. I start on LinkedIn and then I go to social media because why? People post real-time pictures. Now, they still put filters on there, but if somebody else tags them.
Okay, real quick. Are you a married guy?
I was, yes.
Okay, you were. Are you dating somebody?
Yeah, dating,
okay. You're telling me your spouse puts non-filtered photographs on Instagram.
their friends tag them in it.
Okay,
so that's what
so
you
ones they have no control over. Okay.
Exactly.
You're looking for tagged photographs. Okay,
I'm looking for tagged photographs
because they're not filtering them,
right?
Because they want to look as good as they can.
Exactly.
It's like you want to look skinny, hang out with 10 fat people. That's how you do it.
When you have group pictures or you have friends doing selfies, then they don't always filter it. But you can always tell when somebody's filtered because you look in. Like I just did a post about this. It was like Freddy Krueger, normal life, and then him with the filter, and it was all like having a perfect face. But yeah, so you go and you find a realistic picture of them. So you start on LinkedIn. And the only reason that I start on LinkedIn, like you said, is how long ago was the headshot, which, by the way, people should be getting headshots updated at least once a year, twice a year, because of how much our face can change. And if you show up as a different person than people first expect you to look like, immediately we distrust you. Like, well, wait a minute. Why are you different from the person I met? So people should update their photos as often as they can. But start on LinkedIn.
You hear that, online daters? That's for you.
Oh, 100%.
Good Lord.
Okay, so
why would you even go? Why would you? I don't understand that. Apparently, I'm blessed that I've been married long enough that I escaped the swipe left, swipe right. I never had to do that.
Yeah.
But I cannot even imagine going to a place to meet someone and knowing damn well that I look very little to nothing like who they think I look like.
And they do it in different ways. So I've never been on a single dating app either. I've just met people out in the wild. And, but I have a dating course called lookingforloveandalltherwrongfaces.com. And it's all about this. Yes.
Okay. We'll get to that. That's super interesting. We'll get to that. That's good.
I have buddies who, like you said, both guys and girls who'll go out on a date and either the person is 5 to 10 years older than their picture or 20 to 50 pounds heavier than the picture they sent.
Yeah.
And immediately you're like, wait a minute, if I can't trust you to be who you are online, you show up completely different. What did you think was going to happen?
You know what would cure that?
What's that?
Review system like Amazon.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
If literally on like Tinder, they got where you could review people. Think about that. You wouldn't be able to ghost people. People would be kinder to each other.
Oh yes,
but reviews on.
I have a friend who, as soon as she meets somebody, she FaceTimes with them. She's like, before we meet, I want to FaceTime with you. And the reason why, she wants to see if there's a connection, but are they also the person in the picture? But
even now on Zoom, they have all the filters.
Oh yeah. You could go, it's so crazy because you can say, fix my appearance, but you still know age related. Are they, 50 pounds heavier or lighter? Yeah.
You can see if they're maybe calling from a trailer. You can see these things.
You can see the background. Never thought about the trailer part. Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with you trailer people.
That's right.
You do it, but let's face it, you're probably not going to be a good date.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. So it's funny because we immediately distrust somebody who presents themselves differently than they show up in real life. But going back to what we're talking about, you can go, and even if you meet people, just like we walked in, you and I have never met in person until today.
No.
But immediately I can look and say, okay, based on your eyebrow shape, here's how to present the information. So you want to talk about give them the good, bad, and ugly. Because this way people watching can see it too, and not just on here.
Or at least know how to deal with me in the future, which would be probably helpful for everybody.
One of the things you have right in this area here is called a brow ridge. So brow ridge people are process-driven people. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Go and look at people before and after, like military or airline pilots and things. That can actually grow in over time. If you want to see an extreme example, you can go and Google a German soldier before and after war.
Oh yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, and you see this whole area has grown in. So again, that's just muscle that's here.
So when you say brow ridge, you mean there's like a line, your eyebrows kind of bulge out a little bit.
If you were to turn to the side, there's a thick area that you have here that I don't have. That's called a brow ridge. And so when you're looking at somebody who has a brow ridge, I know they're a process-driven person. So I need to list out all the steps are involved in what we're about to do, because that's how they understand. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Now, one of the things that you have that's kind of interesting is, even though I can make out the shape of your eyebrows, you have 2 different eyebrows. So on this side of your face where a wedding ring goes, like here, that is the personal side of your face. The opposite is the professional side. Now, on the personal side of your face, it's more of like a rounded eyebrow. So you think about other people first, yourself second. But at work, it's more of an angled eyebrow. And that is, what's your angle? Help you understand it. Then you can help other people. So when people say, I'm a different person at home than I am at work, you're a good example of that, literally by what's written on your face.
Just because the eyebrows.
Yes, just because eyebrows. So like I showed the picture earlier, or no, I'll have to show it to you later. There's a picture of me at 18. I had straight eyebrows. And then over time, I got angled eyebrows. Well, what happened is I became a corporate trainer. I had to learn the material so then I could help teach it to other people. And over time, that became angled. So when you see somebody with angled eyebrows, it's what's their angle, help them understand it. Then they figure out how to help other people. But if you see people with rounded eyebrows, they think about everyone else first and themselves second. So because of what a lot of your audience is, real estate, right? If you're showing someone a house, their eyebrows will tell you how to talk to them. So if they have straight eyebrows, get straight to the point, facts, figures, data. And we've been influenced by television and movies our entire life. In addition, books is where we started, but then television and movies. So what does Spock have? Spock has straight eyebrows. They draw that on that character. And what does he care about? Logic. So if you see straight eyebrows, then get straight to the point. Facts, figures, data. Are you looking for a 3-3, a 2-2? What are you looking for? Square footage, interest rate. They like the numbers side of things. If you see somebody who has an angled eyebrow, it's what's their angle? What's the most important thing for them with a house? If they have rounded eyebrows, they think about the people around them. What are the spare bedrooms for? Are you going to entertain here? Wait till your friends see you in your new house. So when you look at someone, it's learning to speak their language. And people go, this is manipulation. No, it's a sign of respect, because I'm thinking I know how I want to present information, but I'm focused on how would you best receive the information.
Yeah, that's one of my, we just walked by my office, and it's funny because I love when everybody in their office has like trophies of like their greatness, like their, I got this award and I got that. Mine is kind of filled with lessons of failure. And like one of my favorite ones about assuming you know what people want and how to give them information is, I have a script in there on my desk. We just walked right by it because I dropped a shadow box and had to buy a new shadow box for it. So I had the new shadow box, but it's still sitting on my desk. And what it is, it's a script from David Flabat, who wrote Will and Grace and a bunch of other NBC sitcoms. And when I was on The Apprentice, he saw me and was like, I got a call. They want you to come read for this new pilot. Yeah. And I was like, what? He's like, I want you to star in this new pilot called Goodies or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so they FedEx me the script, and I open it up and I look at it, and it says on the second page, it says, in walks Goody. That's the role they want to read for. And it was like mid-30s, kind of doughy, boyish charm, but by no means man candy. And I was like, what? At the time, I was like in pretty good shape. And I was like, this is how the world sees. This is terrible.
Right.
And then like several pages later, it said, enter his cousin Pete. Think loud, obnoxious, thinks Vince Vaughn from Swingers. Yeah. And back then, before we both looked like chewed bubblegum, I got compared to Vince a lot back then. And so I was like, they made a mistake. Yeah. So I go to New York and I go to this casting director's office, and I walk in and there's a camera guy there and there's the casting director. And I walk in, I'm like, excuse me. Hi, my name's John Gafford. She's like, oh, hi, welcome. How are you? And I'm like, I believe there's been a mistake. And they're like, what? And I go, yeah, you said you wanted me to read for this, but I think what you meant was this. And I'll never forget the look on her face. She just goes, you read for whatever you want. And I was like, no. Like I instantly knew I'd screwed up. And then later I found out from my buddy who was actually an actor in Hollywood. He's like, no, dude, that doesn't matter. Like those placeholders don't mean anything. It's just what he wrote when he was writing the pilot. And you went in there and like served up that you were a problem day one. And I was like, so I have that as a reminder to never assume that I know what people want. And thank God that show never got made. Can you imagine having to sit at home and watch that every week like the next Seinfeld?
No.
It'd be terrible. But anyway, so yes, understanding what people want and how to give them the information, I agree with you, is an absolute sign of respect.
So we're raised with the golden rule, which is treat people the way we want to be treated. And what we learned over time is really it's the platinum rule, and it's treat people the way they want to be treated. And their face tells you how they want to be treated. There's all kinds of things, like you can see 3 of the 5 love languages on someone's face. So fuller eyelids are time and attention. This area here, which you have a wide one, is kinesthetic hands-on learners. And then if they have,
so why? So okay, go back. You just jumped over those. So let's start with the eye one first. Let's go to the eyes now.
So
from the eyes.
The fuller the lid is, what they've studied over time is those are time and attention people. So they are people who like to do things with other people. So when we see like Bambi eyelids is what the term for it is. And of course, Bambi is something that was adopted later, not when they first started doing this, but they recognize that people with fuller eyes like to do things with other people versus doing things alone.
So when you say fuller eyes, what does
like
that mean?
Fuller lids here. So when you can see
like
a lot
hooded
of
lids a little bit?
Yes, like hooded lids.
When they get hooded?
Yes.
Okay.
So the more lid you see, the more they think in terms of we, is an easy way to remember it.
But don't all eyelids get hooded as you get older?
No. So if you look at people, like there's people who don't have hardly any eyelids. So that's the funniest thing is people think, well, what about if you're from this certain gender or you're this part of the world? Is it that different? No, but if you're ever worried about it and offending someone, then you just skip it and move to another feature. Mm-hmm. But what they've studied over time is when you can see a lot more upper eyelid when somebody's talking, then those are time and attention people. People who don't have a lot of eyelid are completely fine doing things by themselves. If other people join them, it's a bonus, not a requirement. Mm-hmm. So that's
you're talking about the people that maybe their eyes are a little slanty, where you can actually see how much eyelid. Like or people who are wide open like this. Is that what we're talking about? Okay,
yeah. So if they're if you look like Bambi is the term that always comes to mind.
Yeah, big doe eyes.
Yeah, big doe eyes. Yes. So, but they also have very full lids, and so when you see the very full lids, those are time and attention people. Then the next one that is one of the 5 love languages is the wider this area is. So below the nose and above the lip, the wider this area is.
Okay.
Those are kinesthetic hands-on people. Well, so what is that? Physical touch. So if you see a wide area on somebody here who's kinesthetic learner, then you use action words when you're talking to them. So, hey, let's go take a walk. Let's see how this is going. Let's get moving on this project. And that's one that, so if you meet people like that, like you can do the handshake, you can do a double handshake. Some people want to be patted on the shoulder. So everyone's face kind of tells you how to talk to them. And then the third one that is from the 5 love languages is below the lip and above the chin. If they have a horizontal line right here, that's called the affirmation line. So sincere verbal compliments go a long way for people that are that way. So when I meet someone, I can look and say, okay, they've got fuller lids. I'm going to use a lot of we statements because that's the way that they think. If they have a line here, and let's say that they cooked me dinner, it's not, hey, thank you for dinner. It's, hey, the chicken today was amazing. The more specific compliment, the happier it makes the person.
Line right here.
Yeah, a little line right here. So a horizontal line for those who are listening.
Left and right underneath the bottom lip.
Yes, below the lip and above the chin, a horizontal line. If you see that on anyone, that's somebody who thrives on sincere verbal compliments.
Specific. Yeah,
yes.
Being very specific.
So not generic thanks, but the more specific the compliment, the happier they are.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's just the beginning. So there's over 150 different features that you can look at somebody's face, but some of the very basic ones are, let's go, how do people learn? If they have larger eyes, they're more visual. If they have larger ears, they're more auditory. If they have the wide area here, then they're hands-on kinesthetic learner. So when you're looking and talking to somebody like I'm extremely visual, I will say, oh, I see where you're coming from. I get the picture.
So wait.
Yeah.
You lost me. So on ears, somebody has bigger ears, they're more auditory?
Yes.
So muscles in your face are making her ear grows faster?
They can change. Everything in the face can change. So like ears can go forward and backwards. I can show you the picture of me when we're done with this. As a kid, my ears stuck out more. And then they went back closer. Like my nickname when I was a kid was ears.
Yeah.
And over time they went back. So the muscles are constantly pulling on things. So if you ever go and look up like muscles under the skin, it's crazy. There's 43 muscles in the face. The mind creates movement, movement creates muscle. And people go, that's BS. That's not true. Okay, if you've ever seen somebody have a stroke, what happens? They have a stroke over here, this side of their face goes limp. They have a stroke over here, this side of their face goes limp. It's the brain that are flexing these muscles in our faces all the time. That's why you can take identical twins raised in the same household, same genetic code, but they had different life experiences. And so they'll have different facial features.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah. So like people bring up twins, you name it. And the big thing, whenever I'm out at an event, people go, you're just cold reading a person. I'll go, okay, find me somebody on your phone that's not here. And I'll tell you what we can see on their face too. And that's where the proof is in the pudding, because there are people who are trying to say things. There you go. You can show me.
Yeah, here we go. No. Well, no, we're going to, I mean, why not? Let's pull up my wife. Why not?
And that's the best part is when you can tell somebody about somebody who's not in the room. That's where you can see the advantage of it all.
Yeah, so let's pull up the old wife here.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the wife. That's a non-filtered on the wife with a big smile.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what you got. Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
Analyzing you on the air. This is magical.
The downside is I can't see if her eyes angle back.
Yeah. Picture here.
Find one if that's a good picture.
Where she's just kind of not smiling a normal face?
Well, no, that's a perfect picture. I just can't see the end of her eyebrows. So I can't tell you if they're straight eyebrows or if they're angled. But things that I also saw when I was looking there is both of her eyes, if you go from the inside of her eyes right here to the outside of her eyes, they both angle up.
All right, hang on. I'm going to give you a non-voluntary photo because I do tend to take pictures of her when we're just everywhere. She hates that. So. That's
a positive. That's a positive. If you want to take pictures of her, she makes you happy.
Yeah. So I think this is a non. I'm going to take your picture.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah.
Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, because what I was looking for is here. So if I zoom in, see, I want to be able to see if that angled or not. So she does have an angled eyebrow, and that's her her personal side. So again, where a wedding ring would be is the personal side of somebody's face. So let's see. I can't see what that one is, but I'm going to guess she has them both the same way. Angled eyebrow people are, what's her angle? Help her understand it. Then she can figure out how to help others. Now, the next thing I noticed is both of her eyes, if you go from the inside slit here to the outside slit, they both angle up slightly. So those are the people who want to hear about the upside of things. You got to keep things positive, because if you start coming in with negativity, mentally she'll shut down. So look here. So she's got kind of smaller nostrils here. So, and then she has creases in her nostrils, kind of like you do. So people with creases in their nostrils have a hard time delegating things out to other people. And when they do, they'll follow up with them, even if after they delegate it out. She's definitely got that same thing you do, which is the wide area here. So kinesthetic hands-on learner. Obviously I can't see her ears, but she's got decent sized eyes, but I'd say she's a kinesthetic hands-on learner first, visual second. I'm going to guess she has small to medium ears just by the other two facial features that are here. But remember I was telling you that line below the lip and above the chin?
Yeah.
She's got that for sure. So sincere verbal compliments are a big thing with her. So when you're talking to her, the more specific the compliment, the better. She also has a ball at the end of her nose. So people with a ball at the end of their nose appreciate beauty and usually have like crafty hobbies. So I don't know what she does, but that's usually what you see that on a person. Good full upper lip and lower lip. So you can't keep it strictly business. You need to ask her personal questions also. When you're talking to her, she's got talk lines on both sides. So that's how she gets to know people. And then she's got a strong jaw right there. So once she makes up her mind, she can latch in and hold the position that she makes her mind up with. So to get her to change her mind, you got to come with facts, figures, data, not just, hey, I want you to change your mind, but here's the reasons why. You have to unlatch that jaw and change your position on things. All right. And see if I see anything else. That's the main thing that I can see on her right now.
All right.
Yeah.
So back to me then. So now I kind of figured out how to talk to her. Back to me then.
So we'll show your audience some things that they can see on you. So go ahead and raise your eyebrows up. I can see them from here, but when you raise your eyebrows up, I can see several different lines. So go ahead and raise yours. Yeah. So those are called Einstein lines. So I know when I'm giving you information, don't keep it bullet points. I need to give you above, beyond the bullet point information. So I would give you the whole user manual instead of just a cheat sheet on something, because once you're into something, you like to dive in. And those right here are earned like Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours of study. It's by thinking and focusing and doing that.
I'm gonna say that one. Maybe it's Botox. I don't know. Yeah. You missed that one.
Because, I missed that one? Yeah.
Dude, I'm a Cliff Notes dude.
Are you really?
Oh my God.
I would not have guessed that.
I cannot stand to get neat. Like, if you're going to lose me in the details, because that's why I hire people. I hire detail people.
Oh, you hired people for that. Yeah.
I want to get, how's this going to help me? What is this going to do? Let's make a decision quickly. Let's go. And then I want to hand it off to people that they can get in the minutia of it.
See, that surprised me because when you squinted down, you have more than 2 lines, which is perfectionist-like tendencies.
Well, which is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's just personal growth then, I'll say, because I have, like one of the things I talk about all the time is delegating at 80%.
Yeah.
And being okay with 80%. And people don't understand what that means. It's like, look, nobody's ever going to be you or do it exactly the way you're going to do it. They're going to do it at 80% of what, as well as you think it should be done.
Right.
But in reality, if you're hiring the right people to do this, what you perceive as 80% as good as what you would have done is really 120% probably as good as you would have done.
Yeah, because you can have more people doing it instead of just you.
Confirmation bias. We have confirmation bias on your way as the best way.
Right.
So you've got to let that go.
Yes.
So yes, I'm going to say you're probably accurate, but I've just maybe grown into that being a little more mature with how,
people. Yes.
Well, just understanding with myself that I need to just hand this stuff off because there's only so many hours in the day.
Well, that's just it. And look, I'm guilty of this where a lot of times I do all my own videos on social media and people are like, why don't you have other people do it? I'm like, because I had to learn all these things. And if they put out the wrong information, then I worry about the audience getting misinformation versus accurate information. So there's some things you have to do, but then it is figuring out what are you holding on to for all the wrong reasons, right? And that's what every business person's got to figure out. That's why all the books, Buy Back Your Time, all these things are coming out. Or how do you learn to delegate? You know,
I just had him on the show. I had Dan on the show.
Yeah. So he's funny. He was one that it's not often after being a speaker for a few years, you get to meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
He was one that I was at an event speaking in Austin. He came to go visit somebody else. And I was like, you're Dan Martell. And I went and took a picture with him, like fanboyed out.
And he could care less. He's just like, yeah, man, what's your name? Yeah, Dan's super cool.
He is. He's just so laid back. So cool. And because he lives in Canada, I wasn't expecting to see him in Austin, Texas, just walking around.
Yeah.
And, he was in his typical blue shirt and, whatever. But he's super nice guy. And he just walked around. He came down to watch some people he knew in Austin that do a special show. And he's like, well, I came to support my friends for the weekend. So super nice guy. I'll tell you another one, just side note. Chris Voss is another one.
Chris has been in that chair as well.
Man, we spoke at Door to Door Con 2 years ago together. Yeah. And in the green room, I was like, I'm going to get to know Chris. And so I kind of like sat over here and I slowly worked my way over. And we talked for 30 minutes before he went on stage. And he talked about, he's like, I appreciate you having an interest in my book and everything, but you need to study other people like Robert Greene because he reverse engineers and I'm sharing my things. So you need to, so he didn't make it about himself. Instead, he was just like helping me as a person. Yeah. He's such a genuine guy.
Yeah.
He was really, really good.
I love that. It was funny. That's how I love when people come on here to promote books. And I found myself doing this on my podcast tour when you go on to promote your book and you end up talking about other people's books.
Yeah.
Like I think I actually said the other day, like, where should somebody start? And I'm like, oh, Ryan Holiday's, start with Ryan Holiday.
Yeah.
Start with that. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm trying to sell a book too. Wait, forget Ryan Holiday.
Well, after everybody buys your book tomorrow, then later
then
they can
buy
go
Ryan Holiday's.
Exactly.
Yes, then go buy Ryan Holiday. Yeah, That's The Obstacles Away to this day is one of my favorite pieces of literature. I love that book.
Well, and that's when you find something that impacts you down, you want to share it, right? And that's the same thing that's going to happen with your book. Your book, somebody's going to read it and it's going to impact them and they're going to recommend your book. And that's the good thing about things. And even though somebody who has a book that they could be talking about theirs, they're going to read yours, right? And then they're going to say, hey, you got to pick up his book. And that's a very positive thing.
Well, the thing that's crazy to me and like where I think we as men have a responsibility now, I don't know if you saw that, what's his name? John Gladwell. Is that right?
Malcolm Gladwell or
no, not Malcolm Gladwell. Who's got a book coming out right now on masculinity?
Oh, I don't know.
He's just so many people. You talk about so many people and they run through your head. He's an NYU professor. I want to get his name right, so I'm going to look it up. I need like that guy in here that like Joe Rogan has that just looks stuff up.
For him on the side.
Yeah, professor. Book on masculinity. He's doing a huge tour right now, but it's wild. Wherever it is, notes on here it is. Scott Galloway. Sorry, Scott Galloway. Close. Okay. Scott Galloway. Yeah, his new book coming out, which I'm going to definitely buy because it's the same mission as mine.
Yeah,
and he was on a show the other day and he dropped these stats. And I'm going to tell them to you. I don't know if you saw this or not, but as a man, I think we all need to take responsibility for this stuff and do better by the young'uns coming up behind us, if we will. But listen to these stats, dude. This was wild to me. I literally took a picture of them because it was so out there.
Yeah.
In between my million screenshots of what is this font. Sorry, I don't. It's my weakness is if I see a font I like, I'm like, oh, what is that font?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm going to find it.
Sure.
It's the best part about this. People are just sitting here. It's literally just like you're sitting here with us.
Well, here, if you want, let's talk about something I recognize on you that while you're looking at
yes.
So in your left ear, you've got a crease here. So that's called a heart line. So that line.
I've heard that. Is that bad for me?
Yeah, it just means you got to keep your cardiovascular health in check. So it's
my wife said that to me.
Yeah. So you talk to a doctor or nurse, they're going to tell you that's a heart line. And I use that as an example because that's one that people hear a lot. You talk to any doctor or nurse, they're going to see that line and go, hey, you got to keep your cardiovascular health in check.
What causes that to have a line?
It's just the way the arteries and the veins and everything change over time. It just creates that. And it's our faces are biofeedback machines that tell us what's going on. And so by having that,
what else do you see that I need? Well, I'm going to tell you the stats and you're going to tell me what else I need to look out for. You ready? So here's the crisis facing young men, 18 to 24-year-olds, right? 60% of them are living with their parents.
Yep.
30-year-olds, 20% are living with their parents.
Yeah.
20 to 24, the number not in school nor working has tripled. 15% of men say they have no close friends.
Yep.
They're 4 times more likely to take their own life than women and girls, which I think is crazy. So for me, when I read that, I mean, obviously my book is always kind of geared at this, but seeing that the other day, I was like, oh my God, I'm making it my personal mission to get this information into the hands of as many young men as I can. And the skills that you're teaching here are just invaluable. So, I'll make a challenge to you to figure out how to get this information into the hands of those young men so we can turn this around.
That's what I want to focus on. I have an 8-year-old daughter. So young men need it more than anything. Like when you go through anything as a guy, we're just told be a man. But nobody tells us what that is, right? And so you look at, like, we all have tough times. A few months ago, I went through a tough time. It was somebody else that saw it, and they go, are you happy? I'm like, actually, I'm not. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. And they go, come to my clinic for 3 days. And I went to this guy's clinic. His name's Dr. Sean Drake. He's in Phoenix, Arizona, or Scottsdale. And he's a modern athlete. And I spent 3 days with him. And, man, the guy reached out. We did breath work. We did nervous system reset stuff, all kinds of stuff. I walked in feeling half broken. I walked out feeling alive again.
In 3 days?
In 3 days.
What's this guy? I need to go see this guy.
Yeah, his name's Sean Drake, and he's got a place called Modern Athlete, but it's MODERNE. Okay. Athlete, and it's in Scottsdale. And they do all kinds of breath work, PEMF, that's the pulsing electro frequency.
We have that.
Yeah. So we did that. We did light work. We have kinds of stuff. You have that? See?
Dude, we have, my wife is trying to make me live forever. I guess that means she likes me, which is cool. But yeah, we have the red lights. We have the PMF mats. We have the EWAT machine where you breathe the oxygen when you do, all that. We have all, with sauna, we have all of it.
Yeah. You'll have everything. Sean. Yeah. But the thing was, when I was going through a hard time, I was afraid to tell anybody because you're not supposed to, right? You're just supposed to sit with it. And that's not really the way it is. We should, as guys, we should be able to celebrate wins, which we're taught not to do because, don't brag. And when you have hard times, it's hard to talk to anybody. And I just did a post on this. I reposted it on Facebook where it said, I'd rather sit and talk with you for, multiple hours than sit through 15 minutes of your eulogy. And that's the sad thing. I mean, we talked about this before, like, you know, when you lose somebody that we all think everybody's going to live forever. But, you know, when Steve died, I cried like a baby for a day because he impacted me to such a level. And it's one of those things that we don't realize that men need other men for a lot of things.
Well, dude, and even through that, you know, 12 days before he died, we're talking about doing a joint event today.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be here doing
his thing,
his speakeasy thing. And he's like, oh, I'll bring my speakeasy people to your book launch. We'll do a joint thing. It'll be great, blah, blah. 12 days. I was under the impression, I talked to him every week.
Yeah.
And I was under the impression he was getting better and looking up and making plans. I should be out of here, blah, blah. And then like, wham, he was gone.
Yeah.
And I often think about, you know, did he know where he really was? And was he just putting on a happy face for all of us?
I think sometimes you have to have something that motivates you to keep going. So matter of fact, one of the guys I had cigars with last night, he was told in 2023 that he was going to die within several months, and he's still here. And that's one of the things is, do you follow medical advice that's for anyone, or do you go with what you believe in your heart? And there's so many stories of people who beat cancer, all these things, and lived 5 times longer than medical professionals told them was out there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where Steve was. But, you know, he did say, there was an eerie post that came up one time and said, like, you know, do whatever you have to do now because you never know how long you're going to be here. And I'm like, oh, shit. You know?
I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, that one was one that rocked me to the core.
Well, the one where he posted himself, like, oh, I don't look so in the bed, but with when he looked like really gaunt, I was like, whoa, that was a lot.
So I'm going to do what you just did now. I was going through on the way here things on my phone that I miss, and that actually popped up. So it's a picture of Steve. And that I took a picture of his favorite motorcycle and a picture of him, and I threw it into AI, and I'm like, give me a picture of Steve. And that's what AI came back with. And I'm like, that's one I keep on my phone.
Yep. I'll show you my version of that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I sent him this. When I got that gaunt picture, that was terrible. I sent him this, which was him going from the hospital bed that he was in to out on the track with his son. Which is this. I used that, made AI with that. And I'm back, bitch. But for those of you who can't say, we were using AI to motivate our friend, which I highly recommend you doing.
Absolutely.
Because other than that, I've found my favorite use for AI is torturing people on Fantasy Football Sunday. The poor guy at one of my leagues got beat by 80 points yesterday. I mean, it was all day. I was just an onslaught of AI harassing him all day. It was a magical day for me.
Well, and that's how men bond, right? By harassing each other.
It's pebbling is what they call it. I've read an article that said memeing is the new pebbling. So like, in case you know what pebbling is, like penguins will show affection to each other by going and like finding a penguin or a pebble and then leaving the pebble at the feet of the other penguin, whatever. So men, because we don't express emotion, we just send each other the most ridiculous, phallus, get yourself canceled memes that you can imagine. It's that bad. And yes, before you judge me or any other man, your husband, your boyfriend, everybody's in this group. They may not be the worst perpetrator. Right. Like I like to think that I'm more of just should I get out of this group person that I'm very rarely the sender of these things. But there's always one person in that group that is just way
unhinged,
over the line.
Way unhinged.
Just completely unhinged.
Yeah. Well, if women don't get this a lot of times, they're like, why are you guys so mean to each other? I'm like, go watch Gran Torino in the barbershop scene. Like that helps explain when he's taking the kid to teach him, like, this is how men harass other men. Yeah. And it's true. I mean, that's one of the things, like you knew if Steve liked you if he harassed you.
Oh, for sure.
Like he gave me a pin that said, go F yourself, you know? And that was one of the things that was out there. Something that this is my ADD kicking in. You mentioned the stats with men before. I'm going to add to that. December 2023, 800 employers were interviewed and said, what's the hardest thing about hiring kids out of high school and college? 53% couldn't make eye contact for a job interview. Yeah, that's the thing. And I tell my kids all the time, right? I say, which is why I love your facial recognition. We're going to get to body stuff in a minute. But being able to read people and understand where you are. I mean, for me, I always try to hire the smartest people I can. I mean, that's obviously a goal of any good employer. But I'm also trying to hire the people with the highest EQ. Because if you don't understand, especially in the sales industry, when you've got people and when you're losing them, like you got to know. And for me, that's my superpower. Like I know exactly how far I can push
the envelope before it breaks. I know when to pull back. I know when I have somebody, I can just feel it. Right. And I tell my kids all the time, like by the time you're mid 20s, they are 17 and 15. My daughter will be 16 in 2 weeks. Good Lord. But by the time that they are in the mid 20s, the ability to connect with, to talk to and really connect with another human being is going to be a skill that is in short order.
Yes.
And if you do that, you'll be so much further ahead than anybody else. So if you're a parent out there, get the damn phone out of your kid's hand at least part of the day.
Yes.
And make them talk to you and make them look you in the eye and have a conversation. Cause you're right. They're so disconnected.
And we created the problem because with this device comes the illusion of perfection. So even my 8-year-old daughter, she's like, take a picture. And then she's like, let me see it. I don't like it. Delete it and retake it. We growing up, took a picture. It got sent off for 2 weeks later, went to Fox Photo or Eckerd's or whatever.
Eckerd's. Yes, it did. Eckerd's.
And it came back. You probably had red eye in it and you look like crap and you just lived with it, right? But with this device, Eckerd's. They can have the perfect text message, the perfect email. I can order dinners, dates, drivers. It doesn't, and so they don't have to interact with people. And so I just did a study on this.
And you know what's funny you say that. We'll get back to your study, but people today are robbed of the imperfections.
Yes.
Because if you look back, like my mom gave me years ago, she gave me like a scrapbook when she had gone to Gidget's, my wife's mother, and gotten a bunch of pictures of her when she was younger. Because as they get older, they don't want to hang on to them. They want them to go on, and put them both in a scrapbook. And I love that scrapbook with all of its imperfection and all of its, all of the horrible photographs and all of the terrible stuff that's there. Yes. I love those photographs. And the imperfection is where the magic and the memory is. And if everything always looks perfect, then that's not really how things were or are.
That's why right now, what videos are doing the best on all social media? Ones that are done with iPhones.
Yeah, straight versus, just walking, talking shot.
Walking, talking versus perfect studios with a perfect camera, with edited this and that, because we miss authenticity with everything.
Yeah.
We log onto people's social media. We see them living their best life, which it's like anything else. That may be 5 minutes of their day that's their best life, but what's their real life like? I like to ask my Uber drivers when I'm driving around, like, tell me some of your craziest stories.
I was going to say, let me tell you about my crypto scheme that's going to take over the world. All I need is $87 and we're there.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, I always ask.
I'm dying to hear this.
No, I always ask them like, hey, you've been doing this for a while. Where's some of your craziest stories? Well, I live in Dallas, Texas, and there's an area called, gosh, I just blanked on Highland Park. No, Highland Park. And these are the big, huge mansions, 10, 20, 30 million, whatever it is. Like a small one's 5 million there. And the Uber drivers say like, oh, well, I'll pick up the person here and they'll tell me how horrible their life is. Or they'll ask me like, can they sleep with me on the way to being dropped off their house because their husband hasn't slept with them in 8 months or whatever. And it's just, so you see these beautiful houses on the outside, but you don't know what's going on the inside. And that's what social media is. People are only putting this best thing that's out there. So I like talking about things I screw up.
Yeah.
Or like when months when it's like, oh crap, I don't have any gigs this month. What am I going to do for money? You got to share what's really going on with people, because it's causing depression at all-time high, because they're comparing and thinking everyone else's life is perfect when it's not.
Well, it's not that. It's more than that, because what it's doing is it's expanding, it's moving the goalpost to an unrealistic place.
Yes.
And I was watching this video the other day that I thought was so interesting. Some random dude online, and he was talking about why They Will Be Blood is the perfect movie. And he said, it's not because, if you've never seen it, it's an incredible movie. It's an incredible movie.
Okay.
But they say the reason everybody should see this movie is not because they think it's beautifully shot or a wonderful story, because it's a depressing ass long story.
Yeah.
It's about an oil man in the turn of the century.
Okay.
But essentially he says the reason you should watch this movie is because this character is currently in all of us.
Okay.
Because through the movie, he gets family, he gets faith, he gets all of these things, and none of them make him happy.
Yeah.
Nothing makes him happy. Mm-hmm. It is a relentless pursuit for more.
Yes.
For just more.
Yeah.
And you see how this relentless pursuit for more has just made this person completely hollow. Now, I am all about it. I'm all about being the best you.
Yes.
But I'm also about setting goals and understanding the person that you are going to become, or the person you're trying to become, is about making others around you better, is about actually having happiness. And what might make you happy, what those goalposts are, don't need to be the same for everybody.
Right.
It doesn't matter, right? Like when people come and interview at our company, I'm always like, how much money do you want to make?
Yeah.
And if somebody says, I want to make $87,000 a year.
Right.
And that's a very specific number, I'm not going to sit there and say, well, you should want to make $250,000 a year because they've probably thought this out.
Right.
And that's their number.
What's the specific number for?
Yeah, because that number probably provides them a life that they can spend all the time they want with their kids and not worry about any of their bills and take their vacations and do what they want to do. And they don't care if they ever get a Ferrari.
Right.
They're not trying to get a Lambo.
Yes.
They don't care.
Right.
But I think it's so funny, especially in this industry with what we do, with some people like, oh, no, you need to be making, no, come work for here and we'll show you how to make $300,000. Well, dude, no. You just need to get people where they want to go and where they decide they need to go, not where Instagram tells them they need to go.
I sold my soul for $50,000 one time. I went. Well, I was in corporate America and I got moved from one position to another one, and I went from a job I loved to a job I hated, for 8 hours a day over money. And that's the whole thing is I didn't look at the freedom I had before. I was going visiting clients, customers, and everything until I went to 8 hours a day of Zoom calls. And just it robbed my soul. And I'm so happy not to be there anymore. And it just wasn't the right job for me. It might be the right job for somebody else, but I wasn't meant to be on Zoom calls. I have a stand-up desk. I want to go visit people. Yeah. I want to travel. That's what I love doing. And like you said, it's different for every person. I know somebody who they just want a big house that they can be in, never have to leave their house. If people want to come visit them, great. I'm not that way. I have a townhome. I live in a walkable part of town where I can walk and go out and do
Love
things.
That.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I just did a deal. I just did a speaking event in Dallas. And it was at the Omni, maybe?
Yeah. It's like 10 minutes from me.
And so I literally I just went and walked all through downtown Dallas.
Yes.
Because I'd never really done it. And I walked all the way down to like where the W was from the Omni.
Yeah.
And then I cut across to where some restaurant was. And I walked back through where like the Dallas Baptist church is downtown, where you're like, what is this complex I'm in? And you're like, this is a church.
Yeah.
This thing is crazy.
I've spoken there. Like they'll rent out the conference center. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. But I love I never realized how really walkable Dallas was, and I loved it.
It is. Well, yesterday, so I'm staying at Paris Hotel, and the guy was meeting at 8 Cigar Lounge. That's at
that's a minute.
World. Yeah, it's a mile and a half. I walked it yesterday because I was like, it's such a nice day out.
Beautiful day.
Why not? You get to go people watch, and you get to see a little bit of everybody.
A lot. There's a lot to see.
Yes, there is.
Especially when you get on the other side of like the wind. There's a lot to see down there.
Oh, yeah. That's
makes life a little more interesting.
Interesting area when you get over there. But I decided to walk it because I'm like, why not? I'm like, I could sit and, I grab sushi or whatever. But I'm like, I'm here. Why not go and explore? And that's what I love to do. And because I love people watching and looking at people, that's the other thing. Like I'll make a game when I walk from like one place to another, like how many rounded eyebrows can I see? How many straight eyebrows? Because nobody's ever paying attention to people just looking at, and what are you doing? Eyebrows lead to eye contact. And so you get to just look at people real fast. And I love doing it.
Oh man. So I love that because you're sharpening your sword everywhere you go. Because so many people don't.
Yeah. Most people are so oblivious. They're caught up in what's going on. What do I need to do for social media? We forgot how to connect with other people. And that's the study I was going to tell you about earlier, is you were talking about emotional intelligence and teaching it to the kids. Mm-hmm. What they have said is, and this was when I researched it was back in August, is people who learn soft skills, number one, that's the number one skill for the future. Everybody agrees on this. The World Economic Forum, everybody says soft skills, emotional intelligence skills are what will keep people employed in the future. Mm-hmm. If you learn soft skills, 28% higher win rate in sales, 55% peer-to-peer relationships improve, 63% of customers will stay with you, or coworkers will stay with you, like employees, because you can make them feel seen and heard. And then the last one is an 88% boost in productivity. Why? Because if I know how to ask for information from you in the way that you hear me faster, it speeds everything up.
Yep. The world moves faster.
Yes. And people who say, well, I just email and text. Great. AI can do that. ChatGPT, you can have a ChatGPT agent right now, text and email every one of my clients. If you're not picking up the phone, you're not meeting with people, you're not going out in public, you will be unemployed at some point.
That's what I tell people in our industry is you've always got to try to elevate this on the communication ladder.
Yes. If
somebody sends you an email, maybe you can send them a text. If they send you a text, you need to call them. I mean, you're always trying to elevate. If you're talking to them on the phone, you need to try to elevate to a face-to-face. Sure. You're always trying to move up the communication ladder.
Absolutely.
So where you're face-to-face with them.
And you want to figure out how do they communicate. So for example, Janine Driver, body language expert, if you don't know her, I'll introduce you. She has very large ears and she has small eyes. So we talked about earlier, that's an auditory person. If I want to get...
Is that stereotyping though?
No, come on. Go and do it. No, seriously. We can go through picture after picture and talk to people because look at when babies are born, what do they all have? They all have large eyes. And what happens over time is babies' eyes adjust, determining if they stay visual or do they like to hear things. Because when babies are born, they have vision. They don't understand sounds yet, and they don't know how to make words. So that's why this is the biggest feature. And then that changes over time. So with Janine, I know she's auditory. So I have to send her a voice text or I FaceTime her. If I send her a regular picture or meme, she doesn't respond for days. So what I have to learn is based on who I'm talking to, how do they best respond is how I send them stuff.
It's like next level matching and mirroring is what it is. Yeah, it's funny. I'm all about how you receive information. I've got a big problem tomorrow because my book is dropping tomorrow on November 11th. And I just found out, unfortunately, yesterday I'm up against another huge drop, which is McDonald's is dropping the McRib tomorrow. So I'm going to do a comparison video today on why, if you're trying to figure out which one to buy tomorrow, the McRib or my book, which one is better. And one of the categories I'm winning in is consumption, because McRib, you can only consume it with your mouth, but my book, because I have the book, which you can read with your eyes, but I also did the Audible book, so you can listen to it. So that's 2 to 1. So checkbox for the book over the McRib tomorrow.
That's right.
Oh, I'm doing a whole video on this today. I've already decided. I've already decided.
Oh, that's great.
Because there's going to be people that struggle tomorrow. McRib, book, I don't know.
I think because you have a good size audience, all you have to do is tag a few people and go, hey, help me promote.
Help me get, we've done that very well. Luckily I have an army of good friends that have big followings that all receive the book in advance. And tomorrow will be post-share Armageddon, hopefully.
Well, when we leave here, we'll take a picture. I'll hold up your book.
Love it, man. That's called the hero. That's called the hero picture in the PR world is what you're looking for.
Yes.
You're looking for the hero picture. Yeah. So that's good. I love that. Well, if you give me the hero picture, I'm going to give you a book. I'm not going to make you buy one.
Well, I'm going to buy one anyway, so I can leave you an Amazon review.
You have to leave me an Amazon review.
Yes.
Which is important.
It is.
Super important.
And that's what people don't understand is when authors give their books away, they're doing it because they want to share the message. And that's absolutely what you're doing. But the hardest thing is you can't leave an Amazon review if you don't buy the book.
You can. It's just not verified.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, because when we did this, we did a huge sale internally. Yeah. So we did a lot of internal sales.
Right.
And those people, again, we'll all get an email tomorrow. Hey, please, your book should be showing up today. When they do, please give us a review. There you go. No problem. And then I guess I have to go to Barnes & Noble today and sign the stacks wherever they are. So that'll be fun here locally.
That's an awesome problem to have,
which is good. It is a good problem. So let's get back to what we can do to help other people, because enough about me. Let's talk about body language.
Yes.
So rather than read others, let's talk about body language on how you can present yourself. So people, what are some things people can do to make themselves more likable? Because I think after hearing that stat of only 15% of guys especially say they have friends, what can I do to walk into a room, body language wise, facial expression wise, whatever I can do to make myself more likable? Sure.
So we'll go face first, body second.
Yes.
There's a really good book called The Like Switch, Like. It's a red book, and it was written by a former FBI behavioral analysis unit expert. And what they said is when any stranger enters the room, we immediately look at their eyebrows to see, are they raised in recognition or are they furrowed like a foe? And so if they're raised, like, hey, how's it going? If they're like this, instantly we go into, oh, that's a predator. So when we walk into a room, raise your eyebrows up, tilt your head and smile. Why do you tilt your head? Because you're saying, I'm showing my carotid artery. I don't feel threatened in the room. And when you smile, mirror neurons. When you smile, I want to smile. So they actually teach people when they walk into a room, tilt your head, raise your eyebrows up and smile. That's a simple one. Now, when you go to body stature, when you walk into a room, if you have your shoulders slumped and everything, then you don't look confident. But if you have your shoulders back, then you walk into a room, people are like, wow, that person owns the room. And when you walk in, you have to think of yourself as like the main character in a movie. How would they walk into a room? And there's all kinds of mental tricks you can do. In what one book teaches is every time you walk into a room, imagine like a stirrup is here that you have to put your mouth in. And so you raise your head up. And so it's like, when you're walking into a room. So imagine it's just hanging there and you have to bite it. Why? So it forces you to keep your head up, not just your shoulders back. A really good book on that subject is You Say More Than You Think by Janine Driver. That was written, before I ever met Janine, I bought that book because what happened during the pandemic, all of our body language went to crap because we sat home. We're wearing like professional stuff up here, workout gear down below. We stopped
business
going out.
in the front, party in the rear, buddy.
Exactly. It was the the business mullet days.
The business mullet.
And we were all doing COVID pours when we were drinking and everything else. But we got to, depending on how our desk was and our camera, we got sloppy with our body language. And so what you want to do, and like I'm not doing the best right now, if you walk in and you meet people and you
That's a hard couch to sit on and be straight.
You have to have open body posture because when you're open, then people want to talk to you. When you're closed off, look how just the difference of doing that.
Yeah.
But what people misunderstand is the room might be cold. So if somebody sits like this, or there's studies that when people do this, it's right brain and left brain working together. So the important part of that is how fast do people cross their arms or legs is what you pay attention to. So when you're walking into a room, shoulders back, head high, walk in, raise your eyebrows up, tilt your head and smile. If you don't want to tilt your head and smile, that's great. But don't walk in. If you need glasses, go get your glasses, get contacts. Because when you walk in like this,
the Jameis Winston wearing my receiver's face.
Yes, exactly. That
college.
And it's RBF. Because when you do this, people think, oh, they're angry. And I didn't know this when I was younger. So before I had PRK done, which is like LASIK, but they don't cut your eye. They like microdermabrasion your eye out. So that's when I needed glasses. It's a cool way to do it because they don't have to slice your eye. But I used to walk in, I didn't realize I was frowning all the time and or squinting. And people are like, why are you so angry? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a pretty jovial guy. Yeah. But instinctively, when a stranger enters the room, if we see this, we think foe. And after we look here, then we look in their hands for what can kill us. So if you want to do that, just good posture, just raise your eyebrows up when you walk in here. I'm like, hey, recognition versus this.
Yeah, it's funny. I've told people for years something that I got from Tony Robbins, which is if you want to change your life, just spend 5 days walking around like you have a string attached to the middle of your chest, pulling up.
Yep.
And just watch how much differently the world reacts to you than walking around all slumped around.
Yeah. So Janine, and I'm going to screw up her rhyme, but she, like me, likes to make up little mnemonics that people can easily remember. But it's like where the wall meets the ceiling is a good feeling. And what it is you want to, when you walk into a room, project like if you're Tony Stark and your light was shooting off your chest, you want to go right there to where the ceiling meets the wall. Because when you walk in, you do that. Of course, I'm sitting, so it looks awkward, but you have the right posture when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's another way that people can mentally do it is thinking if they had the Iron Man light here, how would they project it to right where the ceiling meets the wall?
Okay. Now, if I'm talking to people, how do I know if they like me? How do I know if they don't like me?
Sure. We lean towards what we like. We lean away from things that we don't like. That's a very easy one when you're looking at body language. There's all kinds of things that you can look out there. Like every once in a while, if you look at your watch and somebody else does it, it's because they like you and they're going to do the same thing. A very simple one is if you're out at a restaurant or something like that, take a sip of your water and see who does it at the same time you do.
Yeah.
So those are little things that you can do. But here's one that is you have to be paying a lot of attention to people. If their lower eyelid is rounded, our eyes are like camera lenses. So the wider the lens is, the more it takes in. If you're talking to somebody and they've got a rounded lower lid, so for the people listening, what I'm pointing at is the lower part of the eyelid are rounded.
Yeah.
If they suddenly go straight, you just flatlined because they're trying to shut you out for something you said or did. So I've used this in business negotiations before where we're going over contract terms and I saw across the table 2 eyelids went straight. I'm like, uh-oh, they didn't like something. And so you can just say, it seemed like something didn't sit right with you. You want to go into that? And they're like, yeah. And then we went into it and we resolved that issue. But it was all because I was paying attention. I was giving them eye contact and I saw that lower lid go straight. And so that's just a sign that you just flatlined. Something you said or did killed the deal.
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall with you and Chris Voss talking. Were you guys at all discussing things that you see? None of that happened? I was
fanboying him. Well, we were just talking about what I teach a little bit, but I mainly wanted to meet him because his book changed my life. It was one of those, when I got moved into sales, I got the book. And I even told him a funny story, or 2 funny stories. One is when you listen to his Audible, it's a very eloquent speaker who reads the book. And then you meet him in real life. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what he was like. The other thing was I really liked his book. And this was back when I was still in corporate America.
Never Split the Difference is that book, by the
Never
way.
Split the Difference. And but my company would never invest in sales training for us. So I found out he was in the Tower Club in downtown Dallas. And he was hosting an event there. And I worked from home. So what I did is I snuck my way into the Tower Club. And when they all broke from a session to go to the bathroom and everything, I walked in, had him sign my book. He's like, I don't remember you being in here. I'm like, because I'm not. And I took the book and left. And I got a picture with him. So I showed him that picture when we were in the green room. I'm like, so I kind of crashed your training 4 years ago. And he was really cool about it, though.
Well, here's the thing, though, man. I'm going to take that is probably one of the best learning lessons of today, which is so many people that are stuck in life or so many people that are not getting what they want out of life are waiting.
Yes.
They're waiting for, you could have been like, man, well, my company doesn't invest in sales training, so I'm not going to get any.
Right.
You could have been like, oh, well, I'm just, eventually maybe they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You could have been like, maybe I'll get an email that says, here, try this.
Yeah.
But no, you were like, this is something I need. This is something I want. So I'm going to go out and figure out how to get it my damn self.
Yeah.
Right. No one is coming to save you.
Right.
You've got to go save yourself. And sometimes you got to take chances like that. And it's funny that every high performer that I have that normally comes through has some sort of a story like that. Yeah. Where it's like, well, no, I just busted my way in the room from Jesse Itzler buying all the damn croissants one day.
I love that story.
Yes. Just because he wanted to meet the guy that he wanted to meet. So he bought up everything he was buying all day, created a shortage in the croissant market or muffin market.
Yes.
It was, sorry. It's like that story. I mean, and honestly, in the moment, he probably would have been a little upset that you were skating his sales training expense. But as you meet him later, it's like, I appreciate the hustle.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he did. He enjoyed the picture, and we took another one. So I have a picture 5 years apart of him and I together, and I'm holding his book in both of them and pointing at it. So the hero shot again.
Yeah.
But it is. And I posted that picture. And what's funny is, like I've bumped into him a few times, and he came on, I'm still in Steve Sims' distillery group, and he came on as a guest speaker, and Steve goes, "Hey, do you know Brian?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I know Brian." I'm like, "Oh, he knows me."
Yeah.
Because it's funny when you get in the green rooms with people. What I realized is I've always loved speakers. And that was one of the things when I met my ex-wife, she said on her first date, she goes, "What do you want to do with your life?" I said, "I want to get paid to travel the world and teach people something." And speaking allows that. And the more time I spent in green rooms, what you realize is a lot of people are introverts, but they have a message to share with people, and they overcome that to go out on stage. So like our friend Steve, when he got done speaking, he'd have to go hightail it to the bar or his hotel room because he was spent. Yeah. And he's a super introvert, right? But when you see him on stage, he absolutely rocks it because he had a message to share that he wanted to help people with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. All right. Well, Brian, man, if the people want to get in touch with you, how do they find you?
So the easiest way, I'm subtle skills everywhere, but I realize not everybody can spell subtle. So if they can't,
SUBTLE.
Yes. Subtle skills.
There's no D in it? No subtle?
I know.
Wait, subtle?
I've tried buying so many of the different ones. SUTTLE, SUD.
Dude, oh God, dude, I'm such the victim. I am the proponent of, sorry.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times. It's crazy.
Well, that's why. So then I got decodetheface.com. Make it easy for people to find me.
Decode the face.
Yeah.
Much better.
When I first did the first one, I was like, I'm genius.
Extemporaneous peripheral face reading.com. Exactly. It's like, wait, what? No. Bing. Every time they try to check.
It's funny. I go and look up different URLs all the time, and I'm like, okay, is this one available? So people always ask, like, Brian, how can I get your cheat sheet? And I'm like, okay, well, I went and looked, getthecheatsheet.com was available. I bought it immediately. I do the same thing. Yeah. I do the same thing. I have my wife's like, what are all these URLs for? I'm like, I don't know yet. They were just available. So I bought them. I've got some old ones. I've got punishmyliver.com because at one time I thought, okay, I want to buy that and just do happy hour specials. And I've just held on to it for years. Yeah. I have nothing else with it. Dude, I had one I was so proud of. We're actually launching a new product for our company on Friday. It's a AI powered homeowner hub that is basically has every appliance you can possibly have in your house, every refrigerator, every HVAC system, every hot water heater, everything you can possibly have in your house. And all you gotta do is take a picture of it, and it'll find the warranty information, the user's manual, tell you how to troubleshoot it. Yeah. And if you can't fix it, it has here's your licensed people that can fix this for you in your market. Yeah. Right? All of that is right here. And it's designed just to be a cool thing for homeowners that as realtors, we can give to our homeowners at closing. So it's a good way for us to stay in touch with them in 2 years from now. Like, hey man, what's going on with your fridge? Did it break? What's going on? Anything I can do? It's just a good way to help your clients and stay in front of them. And I was like, cool. So I bought ownerpad.ai. Yeah. And I was like, dude, what a cool URL. Yeah. And I was with my buddy Steve Trang last week, the Disruptors podcast in Arizona. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, man, I'm launching this thing next Friday. It's called Ownerpad. He's like, as soon as we got off the air, he's like, bro, OfferPad's going to sue you if you do that. He's like, you're going to cease and desist in 2 seconds. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. And I was like, damn it. So now we have Haven Hub, which is coming up. Yeah. But we'll see if it was a mistake because I got HAVN, no E, just Haven Hub because I liked it better because it's shorter. Yeah. So hopefully we'll see if that works. But yeah, I may regret that URL. I don't know. But the best part is you can just always buy another one, right? I know. My favorite, I think my favorite was I bought Realtor because I had an app that was essentially, it was before its time, but we're bringing it back now in a different version. Yeah. So and this is like 10 years ago. So I had it where you could put, at the time they were Android tablets in a house. Yeah. And then when you walked in, the buyer's agent and the buyer would pick up the tablet and then you would touch the room you're in and the agent would give you a tour like they were there. Oh, okay. Nice. So it was Realtor. Yeah. Realtor. Realtor. See what I did there? Yeah, absolutely. Love that URL. Yeah. Loved it. So yeah. But now we're bringing it back because it didn't work because the tablets were too cumbersome. Yes. You had to have, hardware to make it work. Right. But now, thanks to COVID, QR code. You just put one in every room. You put a QR code in every room. See, that's fantastic. Save the day. Yeah. And everybody's just got a phone. You don't do no hardware. Right. So yeah, we're bringing it back, relaunching that very soon, which I'm happy about that. So when you're doing that, let me give you tips for that part. Yeah. When you're talking around the room, you need to do auditory words, visual words, and kinesthetic words. Okay. So when you're talking to them, as you take a look at this room, and you can hear by the da-da-da, and, once you put in an action word, because you want to speak to all the people that are there. So whoever's creating that auditory or that tour, they're going to speak the way that they think, but you're leaving out 2/3 of the people if you don't add in words for all three of the things. Does that make sense?
No. So what I did, well, no, it does,
Yeah.
but on a different way that you think it just did, because the way my brain works, I didn't hear that I need to advise people to do this.
Yeah.
I heard you need to make a GBT that has that programmed into it that you can share with people through the thing so it can write their descriptions for them that they can read the script.
There you go. Yes. That's perfect.
That's what I heard. That's what I just heard.
That's actually a better way to do it.
Yeah, because if you try, because now I got to teach people,
right? They
got to learn how to spell those words, which we've already decided is a really bad angle.
Yes,
it's a terrible angle to do that, and so it's just easier to probably train a bot.
Absolutely. So just say in all my marketing, make sure I use auditory, visual, and kinesthetic terms.
Yeah,
because you never know. So, for example, when I do presentations, so if I get hired to do training or speaker, I make the presentation for the person. So let's say it's for you, but let's say you're not the final approval person. So I add in those other two, because I don't know who the other decision makers are. And I want to speak to everyone.
Man, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I thought today was awesome. I learned so much again. Yeah. I'm so appreciative for you taking your time to come in today. Same yesterday in Vegas, man. It was great. And dude, listen, we talked about so much today on the podcast. Yeah. And, we talked about you needed to save yourself. And the more skills that you have into the modern economy, especially with AI coming to take your jobs and everything else that's happening, the more soft skills you can develop. And this is an incredible soft skill because it's almost like being able to read people's mind. If you can figure out exactly how to give people the information in a way that they're most apt to receive it, well, you're going to start creating incredible value for people. And people that create incredible value are very rarely stuck in the drift. We'll see you next time. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Escaping the Drift. Hope you got a bunch out of it, or at least as much as I did out of it. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the show, you can always go over to escapingthedrift.com. You can join our mailing list. But do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind, throw up that 5-star review, give us a share, do something, man. We're here for you. Hopefully you'll be here for us. But anyway, in the meantime, we will see you at the next episode.